Alright guys, today is the big day. First test drive, hopefully. We still have to fill up the radiator and we get our rigged our air filter for now. We do have to get some angle adapters to make it fit better, but for testing purposes it'll suffice. So, time to fill the radiator. Nothing. We got a little excited and we started it, and we actually rolled it out of the garage, and we have the issue that it thinks the brake lights are depressed, or rather the brake pedal is depressed, and our map sensor is not working. So the MS43 has a failsafe where it will not let the gas function if the brake light switch is depressed. So we bypassed it with a very, very sloppy hot wire just to see what happens. And let's see what happens.
Got it? Right.
Alright, so if you notice, the car does run and drive under its own power, which is a welcome surprise. We had a couple bugs with our brake light switch, and eventually we'll probably have to code that out of the ECU, but for now we have to finish the project up, and that's starting with our #1 fan. Basically, we're just going to use fancy zip ties to mount this to the radiator. They're actually not called zip ties, but they're fan ties. And this doesn't come with a controller. Now, usually you can buy an aftermarket fan controller for these SPAL fans, and they're alright, but what I want to do is get a controller out of a BMW, and then we can use these wires for ECU fan control. So 2 of those wires are for the temp sensor, so a temp sensor will go in the lower radiator hose or in this little bung over here, and the other hose is a PWM wire, so that'll actually tell the controller how fast to spin the fan. We also need positive and negative in, and then we have positive and negative out, and then we go right to the fan, and the ECU will control the fan however it feels like it. So, and it has like 16 different speeds, so we won't be running the fan on full for no reason because these can get loud. And after that, we got to do some slight wiring modification. We also had to get a new MAF. The MAF that we got was defective, was reading 0 kilograms of air per hour. Now we have a regular MAF, or a replacement rather, off an X5 that also used this motor, and it's working fine. Our air intake has to be modified a little bit, set about 45 degrees to the right, and it's currently hitting the upper radiator hose and the strut tower. So a slight bend will take care of that. To wrap up our wiring and make it weatherproof, and we'll wrap up our ECU and make that weatherproof as well. Some wires have to be extended, and it looks like our alternator has to come out one more time because the voltage regulator is faulty. We do have a red battery light, and it looks like it is wired properly. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. Once all that's done and everything's wired up, we can actually put the front clip back on and close the hood, and that'll be it for the engine for now. Exhaust and heat shields also have to go back on, so there's a couple more details, but that's the majority of it. And then we have to figure out why the seats won't go forwards, because right now the back seats are pristine because no one can sit in them. So let's mount this fan.
Shout out Most Def all day. Yeah. See, I'm strictly going to a different type of zone on this microphone. They call me LOGIC, I'm here up in the BBC. I gotta spit it with this free. It's strictly off the TLP, y'all know the deal. We always keep it real, that rap pack. That's a fact, breaking bitches back. When I get it, spit it, could crack doing 70 on this highway. On the front of this bus, I'm busting my mind open, hoping these lyrics will keep me coping. On the grind like coping, no time to bring the dope and this not cool, got me feeling lit. It's been like 3 months since I've been home. Feel like forever, how long I've been gone. Goddamn, it's hella crazy. This shit, it never phased me, amaze me. The second I spit it, I rip it, ridiculous, credit crazy. Ripping and living and striving to kill it, a rippy, he know this deal. This is how we do it on the real. This that random thought like Black Thought, the roots. Then that Most Def Tribe Called Quest. Nevertheless, I'm spitting more, never less. When I get it, goddamn, touching your bitch's breasts. I incest, I spit it, I get it, I rip it. It's gotta be crazy. When I do it, never do amaze me. I'm repping LA now, used to be on MD. And this is how we do it, when it's free. From the Bay to the Bay, I jumped across the pond. Gotta spit it with this wand like I'm Harry Potter, Harry Twitter. All up on these bitches. The second I spit it, far from the riches. It's hella crazy. This is random thought. I said it once, I said it twice. Like a pneumatic device. I bring these words hella absurd. Swit it, spit it the curve. Goddamn, it's hella crazy. No, it don't amaze me when I spit this fire. Higher than the sire. My first name is Sir S-I-R. Can you understand? This is how I get it. It's hella crazy. Yeah, I gotta keep it going. And strictly off the top, I don't know what I'm saying. Never delaying, make damn. When I get it, I bring them in. This is how we do it, so showed out. This is how we do it, so showed out. It's hella crazy. I went from America to Europe. This is how we get it. I spit it, I rip it right back.
Last night we finished up all the wiring, and it's nice and tidy. Too bad we didn't have black zip ties, but for the most part it's pretty much done. All the warning lights are taken care of on the dash, so it's turnkey. For today we had to get the exhaust back on because it's a beautiful day out, so we're not going to be freezing outside. And we had to get the front clip on before we start mocking up our fan controller mount. After that, it's pretty much turnkey. There's some interior cleaning that has to be done because it's pretty brutal in there, but it's very, very close. So, let's do it. A couple hours just looking for the exhaust gaskets, but we did finally get it on for the most part. We still have to tighten the nuts in the back, but we wanted to do a quick sound check to make sure everything's all good. So hopefully it's all solid. There's a lot of oily residue on the exhaust, so it's definitely going to throw for a little bit. But it sounds good, it doesn't look to be leaking. Alright, we got some progress here. Hood latch is done, so the hood will actually stay closed. We got one hood shock, because two are a little bit too expensive, you know, we're on a budget. So at least it won't fall as quickly in our heads when the shovel gives out. And we also have to wire up our fan controller. We did a quick test drive, and it looks like everything's working just fine. All our lights are out, and our cooling system is functioning, which is great. And now we're just doing some cleaning. Our passenger side seat was a little bit of a biohazard, actually still is a biohazard. And we also finished up all the wiring. So after we finish up the fan wiring, then it's pretty much done. We're waiting on a sensor, but we can do without it for now. And we got a fan controller off a smashed Volvo that I'm pretty sure is the same as the BMW fan controller. 3 wires in, so power, PWM, and then this is the final fan drive. So hopefully this will work with our new fan. Let's finish up the car. I mean, right now it's just putting everything back together. This is the last bit of engineering, so to speak. That and the intake elbow. Everything else is pretty much done. Once we finish this up, we gotta put the manual diff in, because the auto diff right now is way too short. Put the manual diff in, and the car is assembled. Not done, assembled. So, let's finish it up. So we wired up our electric fan. Now we're actually using the stock ECU fan management, and to do that we actually grabbed a smashed fan out of a Volvo, which happens to use the same controller, and bandaged it a little bit and hooked it up. And now we're going to just test it using INPA, and you can actually manually set what fan speed. So lufter, and let's go with. Alright guys, today is the big day. First test drive, hopefully. We still have to fill up the radiator, and we get our rigged our air filter for now. We do have to get some angle adapters to make it fit better, but for testing purposes it'll suffice. So time to fill the radiator. Nothing. We got a little excited and we started it, and we actually rolled it out of the garage, and we have the issue that it thinks the brake lights are depressed, or rather the brake pedal is depressed, and our map sensor is not working. So the MS-43 has a failsafe where it will not let the gas function if the brake light switch is depressed. So we bypassed it with a very, very sloppy hot wire just to see what happens. And let's see what happens.
Got it? Hi.
So if you notice, the car does run and drive under its own power, which is a welcome surprise. We had a couple bugs with our brake light switch, and eventually we'll probably have to code that out of the ECU. But for now, we have to finish the project up. And that's starting with our #1 fan. Basically, we're just going to use fancy zip ties to mount this to the radiator. They're actually not called zip ties, but they're fan ties. And this doesn't come with a controller. Now, usually you can buy an aftermarket fan controller for these SPAL fans, and they're alright, but what I want to do is get a controller out of a BMW, and then we can use these wires for ECU fan control. So 2 of those wires are for the temp sensor, so a temp sensor will go in the lower radiator hose or in this little bung over here, and the other hose is a PWM wire, so that'll actually tell the controller how fast to spin the fan. We also need positive and negative. So that's since been solved. It was a relatively painless clutch change, especially since all the bolts were fresh. We also put on an M3 muffler, an E36 M3 muffler we got from a buddy, and we have to make some software tweaks, but for the most part, it's assembled. Complete it will never be, but it is assembled. All the wiring, all the stuff that we thought was going to be suspicious, iffy, is solid. Everything works great. Heat, good. We had to get a new cooling cap, but other than that, it was pretty uneventful. So what's next? As you can see, we got new wheels as well. Those wheels need tires. We have to seriously lower the car because it is still in the stock suspension. The stock suspension that was designed for a car with an iron block and an automatic transmission. This has neither of those, so we're probably, I'd say, a solid 200 or 300 pounds lighter. So the front is definitely lifted a little bit. And brakes. In fact, we bled the brakes with some fresh fluid. The rear brakes were completely not operational. They were clogged. So that would explain the poor braking performance. So those are now, all the fluid is now fresh. All I need are new pads and rotors, but these work all right. That can wait until, you know, the budget accumulates and retaliates after all the damage that we've done to it. It's things like the radio, the display doesn't work, but the radio itself works, and it actually sounds better than like an economy car you would find these days. The car has quite a bit to go. It is not a slow car. It's definitely quick and fun. Needs an LSD, but for the most part, that'll do it. Everything you saw from the last part in the old garage, everything that's happened since then, I pretty much covered. Not much. Most of it was actually waiting for New York State to get their shit together and send us the title. So that was actually the biggest holdup for everything. We applied for the title in... When did we apply for the title? We applied for the title in January. We didn't get the title until the end of March. So that was actually the biggest delay for the episodes. The car was actually drivable. Even with the broken clutch, we still drove it all the way out here. We drove it to New Jersey. We got new seats. I don't know if you noticed, but these are actually off an E36, and they're sort of bolt-in. You gotta play with the mounting points a little bit, but they're mostly bolt-in. I mean, they'll fit. Things that are coming up. But everything's going to be on a budget. If you guys have any ideas of things you want to see, let us know and we'll try and make it happen. We are actually able to pass New York State inspection even with our questionable swap. And our new workspace is pretty decent. It's a double garage with plenty of room for projects, and you'll definitely be seeing more projects. And I'd like to apologize for the wait time, but again, that is mostly New York State's fault. I had the entire episode already edited a while ago. We're just waiting for us to be able to do the final reveal, and now that we can do that, well, there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. There will be much more E36 content, I am sure. Many more surprises until we get everything figured out. I guess you could say a goal, something that we'd like to accomplish, is for this to be a daily that we can go bring to a track, let it survive the track, and come back all in the same day, preferably. Hopefully not on a trailer. So that'll do it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, if you like the series, hit like, and you'll see plenty more of it. And make sure you follow us on Instagram / like our Facebook page if you want to see what's going on behind the scenes. And catch you guys next time. Alright, so we were supposed to be driving and filming a review and a bunch of stuff, and we had a bit of a setback. This is what's left of the attachment point of the rear camber arm or the lower control arm, and it looks like the bolt snapped, leaving only one half of the arm attached to the car, and the load just was too much for it, snapped, and we got some unintentional stance. We have a new arm, but the issue at hand is that we have to move the diff, and we're in a parking lot, Pep Boys parking lot, so if we need some tools, maybe we can get some, but yeah, always exciting. So stay tuned.